able to hear. Dr. Hema, are you able to hear?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'll request Professor Anu to take over. She is the host for today's webinar. Over to you, Anu.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good morning, our beloved chairman, vice chairman, esteemed speakers, industry experts, faculty members, and my fellow student participants. I am Assistant Professor Anu A. Natraj, and on behalf of MP Birla Institute of Management, it's my honor to welcome all of you to the first webinar of Webinar Series 2025. The Internal Quality Assurance Cells, MP Birla Institute of Management takes pride in presenting the webinar on building the future workforce, digital dexterity in the world of AI. Today's webinar is on building the workforce for future generation and also exploring and how AI is reshaping the work and the skills needed to thrive in this evolving landscape. Discussions cover AI-driven workforce readiness, skill validation, and strategies for adopting to technological advancement. Present-day organization must always prepare their employees for a AI-driven future by integrating validated skill data, AI-powered tools, and career growth strategies. Experts always emphasize the importance of bridging the skills gap and fostering the sustainable AI innovation. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our beloved chairman, Sri Engineer N. Ramanuja, our Vice Chairman, Sri V. Murlidhar, and our beloved Principal, Dr. S. Satyanarayana, for their unwavering support for conducting this webinar. I now request our beloved Chairman, Engineer N. Ramanuja, to speak one or two lines for our participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Anu. Good morning. Hearty welcome to our webinar on building the future workforce, digital dexterity in the world of artificial intelligence. My congratulations to our MP Birla team who have taken extraordinary interest in the webinar series of MP Birla Institute of Management. I request my esteemed colleague and Professor Srimati Anu Natraj to kindly continue and share my few thoughts with you. Thank you once again. Wish you all the best. And hopefully you will have a meaningful discussion in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir has shared with us his thoughts on AI and how it is influenced in his career and the workforce and how it is going to reshape for the future generations. Like sir is stated, and I quote, Ano Badraha Krutavo Yantu Vishwataha. Let the knowledge come to us from all sides. We have known that artificial intelligence have been around for a very long time, but advances in computing power, the availability of enormous quantities of data, and new algorithms have always led major AI breakthrough in recent years. I was amused to read the role of AI in Operation Sindoor. AI introduces algorithmic accountability through auditable decision logs and strike data. During Operation Sindoor, AI tools helped counter deep stakes and misinformation, enhancing transparency. Business and manufacturing organizations are no exceptions to this changing paradigm. I, as a CMD of a large organization, have seen the struggle of HR departments while hiring. That has been labor intensive, human driven process, recruiters sifting through resumes, conducting interviews, and making judgment calls based on intuition and experience. But the era of manual talent acquisition is fading. Artificial intelligence, as in the other facets of business and technology, is rapidly evolving beyond a supporting role to become the driving force behind recruitment, transforming every stage of process into intelligent, automated system, and thereby building an effective organization. Today, AI powered tools can foster collaboration, inclusivity, and adaptability across generations, driving innovation and growth. Most workplaces, being multi-generational, face challenges of bridging the gap and harnessing their strengths to enable a very harmonious, productive, and innovative work environment. As the future workforce will be shaped by the blend of demographic shifts, technological advancement, and evolving work practices, workplaces have to bridge the technology and gaps to enable productivity. I am glad that MP Birla Institute of Management has organized this webinar to address this very important aspect of building a workforce for enterprises in the near future. The knowledge is essential for all the managers who will be heading various departments and looking for personnel. I am sure that there will be many takeaways for the participants from this webinar, which features professional and competent speakers who will share their experiences. I once again congratulate Dr. S. Satyanarayana, Dr. Hema Harsha, and the entire team for taking this initiative in organizing the webinar on this topical issue. I wish all the webinar participants best of luck, and you'll benefit immensely is my thought behind it. Thank you for a wonderful message, sir.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving forward, we would like to take a short break for 5 minutes. Due to technical glitches, our speaker is going to be joining anytime from now. A very good morning, Suryashweta ma'am. Are you there? Are you in?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay. A few instructions before we begin with our sessions. Participants are requested to keep their camera on and microphone on mute throughout the webinar. Regarding a Q&A session, please post your questions in the chat board that we have. They will be addressed by our respective speakers at the end of their sessions. And also, e-certificates will be provided once you submit the feedback form, and feedback form will be shared towards the end of the webinar after auto thanks. Without further ado, let us begin our intellectual journey with our speaker for the first session, Ms. Suryashweta Chakraborty, who is an HR thought leader and a keynote speaker. Ms. Surya brings cutting-edge insights into future of work, inclusive leadership, and transformative power of AI in HR. With a passion for empowering individuals and organizations, she has been featured as speaker on HR transformation, diversity, inclusion, workplace culture, and women leadership at prestigious forums and educational institutions. We are honored to have with us, ma'am. On behalf of MPBIM Institute of Management, we would welcome you to this webinar. We now request you to take over the platform, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm setting up my things. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, students, and good morning, professors. Just a moment, I will turn on my camera. Good to meet everyone. It would be nice if others can turn on their cameras as well. We will try to keep it a little interactive, although I know that a lot of students have and other attendees have joined online and they may not be able to completely participate, those who are joining in from YouTube, but we will try to keep it a little interactive with those who have joined in. That was a very flattering introduction. I will try to live up to some of that in the conversation today. And before I begin, just quick introduction about myself. I'm working with a tech organization where I get to use my ability and knowledge and skills in learning and development and organization development very, very closely. And my my ability to bring in tech is something that that is something that I am very proud of, and I'm going to share some of those aspects with all of you as students and professors as well joining the call. As I said, it's going to be a little interactive, which means that there would be a couple of activities that would come your way. But I'm going to first share my screen and take you through this. All right, so we are going to discuss and see AI in learning and development. But before that, before we even get there, there are a couple of things that I want to bring to your notice. Before I show you this graph, which is important, any thoughts that you could put on chat that what are some of the topmost priorities of the CEO right now? Those who have seen, that's all right, but I would like to see some responses in the chat as well, that what do you think are some of the most important things that keeps a CEO awake at night? Please use the chat box to share your responses. Are you all able to use your chat box? I'll repeat my question. What are some of the things that keep these CEOs awake at night? Now, I'm sure there are a lot of different things, but whatever answer that you can type it in the chat box, that will be wonderful. So there are 97 in the room. I'm expecting at least a 90 of them to come. Am I audible? I think, Anu.
Participants request to type out them.
Okay, how to use new technologies. Thanks, Dolly. Good response. Okay, innovation, rapid change, innovation. Yes. In fact, I was in one of the summits. In fact, the last whole week, I was in a summit with some of the very senior leaders, and innovation, I can tell you, Kaushika was on top of everybody's mind, all those leaders that I was working with, because everybody is trying to cope with the rapid challenges and the changes that are coming in, which is definitely leading to upskilling and reskilling agenda alive for them. So thanks, Dolly, Kaushika. I would invite more responses to come in. It is important for all of you to also take part in the conversation. It is not just going to be a webinar where only the speaker is going to share the thoughts. New technology. I think new tech is VUCA environment. All right. There's a lot of volatility. Things are changing every day. There's a lot of uncertainty, and because of the uncertainties, people are panicking. They do not know what's going to come up for them in the next few days. In fact, as soon as tomorrow, did not know how things are going to be. Taking the team forward. Yes, accommodating new technology to sustain in the new market. And I think I am still seeing some responses that are coming in. I would request all of you who are, here attending the session today, keep your phone ready for you to send in the chats, or use the chat box here to send in your responses. It is important for you to keep interacting with all of us as we move forward in the session today. How to build new trained workforce. Thank you, Dolly, again. So I can tell you a couple of things. One is that we'll have to remove this annotate that has happened on the screen. I'll just... Okay. So I can tell you a couple of things that, there are a lot of things that keep the CEOs awake at night, out of which these are the top 10 that is given by Gartner. And it's a study that's done by Gartner, which is a highly respected firm. And they're saying that the top 10 are related to growth. Of course, technology, a lot of you spoke about technology, how that is pushing the envelope for the organization, for the CEOs. And if you notice that that workforce is even before customers. Now we know that every organization, every business thrives on its customers and its customer base. But if you see the top from the top, the third one is workforce. And that is one of the biggest concerns for the CEOs that's keeping them awake at night, that how do we ensure that the workforce is aligned, workforce is productive, the workforce is upskilled and reskilled to keep pace with the advent of technology. Now, if these are some of the top concerns that the CEOs have, then I can tell you a couple of things. One, HR is very, very exciting space at this point of time. Now, why it is exciting? Because of a couple of things which I personally feel are very important for the business now that they are looking at. And the first one is building a strategy for the HR function and adapt, align it as the business and operating environment change. So HR is focusing and getting involved in building the strategy, supporting the strategy for the business, because in that strategy, a large part of it, while there is innovation and technology related challenges, and for them to, there is a need for them to reinvent themselves continuously. Along with that, there is another thing that they need to keep in mind, and it is important for them to do, is to build a solid talent pipeline, keep them engaged and keep them relevant. Another thing is that HR is constantly providing input to ensure that the strategy is not, just a static one, but a dynamic one. So constantly giving input, checking how the things are going on, conducting a lot of surveys, and positioning the HR function to meet all the business needs. So HR is no more a partner where it would just be responsible for the policies, but ensuring that the HR is getting into the operating model, the structure, the staffing, to ensure that the business needs and the productivity and the revenue needs are met in time, which also means optimizing the HR function's budget to meet the business needs. Along with that, these are the top 5 priorities for 2025 that I'm looking at. Personally, leader and manager effectiveness, organizational culture, change management and career management, internal mobility. These are some of the things that I closely look at. There is a question that's going to come up for all of you now. I will share my screen and I would request you to take it up. Just a moment, please. You'll have to go to menti.com. And the code is this. Go to menti.com. And the question to you is, what comes to your mind when you hear AI in HR? That's the first question. What comes to your mind when you hear AI in HR? Go ahead and join menti.com. So www.menti.com and use the vote code 2900818. 2900818. There is a poll that will come to you. It's not really a poll, but you would be able to type in your responses in terms of words that come to your mind. What comes to your mind when you hear AI in HR? Anything that comes to you. While you know that workforce is important and it's high on agenda for the CEOs right now, another thing that you all have highlighted is the technology. And with the advent of technology, it is important for all of us to keep ourselves. It has kept all of us on our toes. Now, it is important for us to understand and respond to it, that how it is impacting us. Okay, I've started to get some responses. Time efficiency, all right. We would be able to better manage and use our time with AI in HR. I'm looking for more responses to come in. You could use menti.com to and the code 29000, which is mentioned on the screen itself, 2900818, to type in your responses. Slowly, I'm seeing to receive a lot of responses. All good things I'm getting to read from here. Motivation, all the positive things. In fact, I did this survey and the voting a couple of days back with another batch and another college students. There were a lot of concerns as well that they had highlighted, but I'm seeing that a lot of you are very, very encouraged and you are seeing it in a positive light, which is important. So you are saying motivation, time effectiveness, time efficiency, less manpower. Absolutely. Personalization, gaining deeper insights. I would like to know more about personalization, what you mean by that, because I'm going to dwell a little bit more as I move forward. High advancement, screening resumes, gaining deeper insights, and whatnot. Please move forward with your responses quickly so that we can go to the. And in fact, there is another question after this one, which we will get to it. But I'm waiting for more responses to come in. I have received only 7, 8, 11 responses, I think, yeah. Go ahead, you could see that there is a thumbs up button as well. If you want to use that, those who want to use the chat box, please feel free to do it. Succession planning is somebody is saying, okay. Now, I'm seeing that there is a very positive sentiment that's flowing on when you're talking about AI in HR. And I think you have been listening to all the things that are going on with AI coming in the HR. Now, wow, that's something I'm going to take up. Sorry. Are you not able to hear me? I request you to be on mute in case
Participant, please
we
keep your mic on mute while the
can't
session
speak
is
to
on.
you. Right. The next question has come in transition. Wonderful. What does it even mean? Please use the chat box to explain what comes to your mind when you hear AI in L&D. And let me expand that. L&D is learning and development. So I would like you to think about how AI is impacting the world of learning and development and talent development. Please send in your responses. Transition is one. Not sure what does it really mean. Whoever has typed in, please feel free to use the chat box to explain your response, maybe. Futuristic, wow. Gap
That
analysis.
was my response to the previous question. It came in for this one, Shweta.
Okay.
Anita,
All
okay.
right. All
Yeah,
right.
it's coming in. That's right.
Okay. All right. I encourage the students to go ahead and type in the responses. Please use the code quickly. Everybody has a mobile phone, so we shouldn't, kind of face any kind of challenges in that. Thank you, Abida, for typing that code in the chat box. The code is 29000818. Okay, we are still waiting. I think there were two questions back to back. Please feel free to quickly just send in your responses. Quick content development. Okay, I like that. Problem solvers, gap analysis, transition, and whatnot.
It went on very well.
The way they had scared us,
Ah.
we were also scared, but smoothly it went.
Oh, yes, sir.
They have planned this, the
Oh.
government also has planned. We have to walk. One way if you go, they will not give you
There is a
back.
lot of noise in the
Mashallah.
background. Just requesting others to be on mute in case you're not speaking. All right, I'm getting a lot of responses, transition, knowledge level, AI-led content development, problem solvers, gap analysis, futuristic. And I think you have, given all of the right responses, you have been, of course, exposed to a lot of these conversations as well. So let me, kind of take you to another side of the conversation, which I to kind of share with all of you, that what is AI doing in the space of L&D? AI and L&D is not just about technology, first of all. While a lot of you have gone ahead and spoken about technology, but it is not just about technology. It is about helping people grow smarter and faster, which means that in any of the organization, if they have to, become more relevant, because of the VUCA world that one of you just highlighted a while back, that if they have to stay relevant in the new world and which is ever changing, where there are a lot of changes, where people are continuously looking for for avenues where workforce could be managed well, could be trained well.
Shweta ma'am, can you hear me? We are unable to hear you. Shweta ma'am, are you there?
Winner in the marketplace, and that's the objective if they all are trying to coming in. Are you able to see my?
Ma'am, we were unable to hear you clearly. I think the network issue.
Is it?
Yeah, now okay. Now what you're saying, we were able to hear, but earlier it had a little bit of wavering version. It was not clear. Yeah, over to you,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So I was talking about. So do you want me to go back, Anu, to the previous one, to the previous
Yeah,
slide?
if you could reiterate the
Just
previous
quickly,
slide, yeah, quickly.
yeah, right. Recapping it for that AI and L&T is not just about technology, it is about helping people. They are
Ma'am, it's still not clear. I don't.
generating the revenues they are as well.
Yeah, we are okay now.
Okay. Let me just switch to another one. Let me see if it works.
When you speak, we are able to hear clearly, but somehow when you're going back to this slide, that wavering is continuing.
Oh, when I'm sharing my
Yeah. If you're speaking just like that, it is coming on clearly.
forward and see how it is coming out. Let me know if you're able to hear me now. Are you able to hear me? Or is it still patchy for you? I can't hear you, Anu, you're on mute.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to hear me?
Now I'm able to hear you, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Others are also confirming that they are able to hear me. So I will share my screen once again.
Sure, ma'am. Over to you.
Okay, and I'm going to talk a little about what does it even mean to have AI in L&D space. Now, imagine having a coach that understands your career goals, learning pace, and weaknesses as well, and that never sleeps. That's AI in talent development, and that's something that is a very, very interesting space for all of us because understanding the learning needs, understanding the career goals, primarily has been the job of not just the employees because they own that, but also their managers. And you would, be able to read from various kinds of journals and researches and data that is supporting which says that it is important for employees to focus on their career goals, but that doesn't really always happen in the organizations. Now, with the advent of AI, a lot of people now have coaches within the organization, not just their manager looking after their career goals. Now they have a coach with AI looking at the career goals, learning piece, and also is suggesting learning which is important for them. Another aspect of that is that AI doesn't just teach you, it learns about you. And what does it mean is that, as a learner, as an employee, as a learner, if I want to build my skills in a particular area and in particular skills, it will keep giving me recommendations based on my strengths, based on my competencies that I need to build, and suggest the skills for my next role, for the dream job, and the learning path or the personal and professional path that I want to bring and design for myself. Now, having said this, it is also important for us to understand that AI can recommend, not replace, because empathy, decision making, and leadership, these are to be practiced and done by human. These cannot be replaced by AI. And therefore, it is still all of our superpower to ensure that we are able to see data in such a way and use the data in such a way that it helps a lot of us to make the right decision and lead the people in the right way and in the right fashion as well. Now, AI in L&D, I want to give you a couple of examples. There are a lot of ways that AI has been used in L&D, one being, let's say, LinkedIn Learning. AI suggests personalized courses based on one's roles and goals. It will keep on sending recommendations based on the learning that you have done earlier as well. IEPM has Watson Career Coach, which is again, something that I was talking about a little while earlier, that it recommends internal roles and learning based on employee aspirations and current skills. So imagine every employee, if there are thousands of employees in an organization, everybody having a coach, a career coach in the form of a personal career coach. It really helps one elevate their current skills and build future skills as well. Accenture, in fact, is using talent intelligence platform, which means that they are using AI to map employee skills and guide reskilling decision at scale. Because in these organizations and a lot of big tech organization, there are a lot of employees who are there who need to be upskilled, reskilled continuously, and it is important for AI to come in to map that what skills are are to be developed, what are becoming redundant, what are the new skills that need to come in. The fourth example that AI in L&D is Coursera Skills Dashboard. It tracks learners' progress, and I think some of you who have used Coursera, and you can use the chat box to share your own examples as well, that how you have seen Coursera track the learners' progress using AI, ML, to ensure that it is not just an old traditional way of learning that we used to have in schools and colleges earlier, but it is much more advanced where people are able to see and use learning in a much interactive fashion these days. Now, let me give you an example of that. I'm going to share a video. I hope that it works this time. Let me know if it doesn't though. Okay. Just a quick video. I think some of you have probably seen this or know about it, but have you heard about Duolingo? If you have not, we are going to see some of that bit as of now. How Duolingo uses AI in learning and development. Are you able to hear it as well?
No, ma'am, not yet. Now, yes.
Show you one more of Duolingo, which I like more.
Want to prepare your language skills for the real world? Try Duolingo Adventures, a new immersive way to practice common conversations like ordering at a cafe, going shopping at a local store, and even dealing with those awkward, unexpected moments. Prepare your language skills for the real world without all the pressure. Start learning today with Adventures, on Duolingo.
Any thoughts? Just a moment, let's stop this. Okay. Any thoughts on from anyone who has used Duolingo? Probably you can use the chat box to share in your thoughts. But let me tell you that how it adapts itself and keeps sending recommendations based on using the AI that it is using right now. Based on the learner's preferences, it will gamify the entire learning. It will keep on sending recommendations. It will know that when you have missed your learning, and it will remind you to go back not just to that particular learning, but based on your learning pattern that it has seen, it will keep you sending new recommendations, so that because you have missed, it senses that you are losing your interest in learning probably, and then based on that it sends you more lessons, more interactive and fun lessons across your way. Now thanks, baby. I think you have used it to learn basic Hindi. My kids are learning as well. One is learning Kannada. Another one is learning Spanish. But let me tell you, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of AI in L&D, where people are going to see learning through a completely different lens and start learning not just because they have to learn, because that's how traditional schools and colleges have been, where learning has been pushed to the learners. But in adult learning, let me tell you, when people are in organizations, they do not want to learn just because it has been prescribed to them. It is more about learning based on their interests as well. And therefore, the challenge that we have in the organization is humongous, because we have to ensure that the employees not just learn, but they are interested in learning more about it. Now, here is an example of Netflix, which has changed the way that we watch TV. Now, I will tell you why I'm talking about it, but here is a quick roadmap and a timeline of how Netflix has evolved since 1997, when it just merely started as a DVD startup. From there, they have gone to a subscription model to become the Netflix that they are right now. Initially, it was only a video streaming and DVD subscription organization. From there, and it was not even an organization in those days, it was a small shop. And from there, they have come the way that they are right now. I think every household in urban cities would definitely have Netflix at their home. Now, why am I talking about Netflix right now? And I would encourage you to go ahead and use the chat box to send in your most your responses as well. But Netflix stands for a couple of things. One is their huge ability to focus on customers, which is almost like customer obsession and not just customer centricity. They are constantly upgrading and changing themselves based on what the viewers want, what they want to watch, based on their learning rather their watching preferences. It will keep sending notification, it will keep recommending, and it is every year on year they are bringing in a lot of changes in the way people want to watch and consume entertainment through Netflix. And it's an organization that stands for innovation and hyper-personalization. Now, why I'm talking about Netflix is the way that they have used the analytics and big data to design their platform and push entertainment in such a way that people are completely glued onto their platform and do not want to go on to another platform. That is something that a lot of the organizations are trying to bring in their learning pattern as well. And that is happening just because of AI, because a lot of people do not want to get prescribed learning, because let me tell you that people fear the ID itself, that hey, there is one more training that's coming our way, let's not even open that email. And therefore there is a lot of fall in the participation of participation in the training programs in the organization. But when we are using AI, we are using AI to understand, hey, what are those skills that are important for one to develop in the career level that they are right now. If it, right now it is identifying those skills. Based on the skills, it is suggesting what are the new skills one needs to develop. And that's how it is pretty much becoming the Netflix of learning and development that a lot of the organization are doing right now. So we are moving away from the traditional form of training programs in the classroom to a space where learning is focused on the skills, the skills that are missing, the competencies that are to be made, and it is helping everyone stay relevant because they don't have to now go after what HR is suggesting, but see what are the things that they are missing right now, and based on its learning, the learner's learning preferences, it pushes more content, more courses that are aligned and important for them. And therefore, it is becoming the usage of that is increasing as well. So I'm not going to go further than this by by telling you that hyper personalization where is the key word right now, because Netflix is thriving on that, and believe me, L&D and OD space is also using the same technology and the same the fundamental principle of hyper personalization of content for the learners, so that they learn which is based on the skills that is important for them, and not just learn just because it is coming their way. All right, so I have, I'm almost towards the end of my conversation today, but I would invite you to think more about it and share in your thoughts as well and questions as well in terms of what you're seeing. But just to sum up my conversation, there is a lot of work that we are doing in producing and creating intelligent content and recommendation using the AI, so that AI can sift through the vast amount of data. There is a lot of surveys that happen in the organization to identify the right skills, to identify what are some of the areas that we are doing well, what are some of the areas that need improvement, and not just related to learning, but various areas where the organization need to improve. So the AI can sift through that data, find what is relevant, personalize that data, recommend based on job roles, skills, learning preferences, etc. AI is driving virtual assistant and chatbots that I talked to you about earlier. It is important for everyone to have that kind of partnership where they can reach out to a coach, to someone who would be able to help them with the answers and answer in a way that will help them develop. So it is almost like having a personalized coaching for them, which means that AI is also helping them adapt their learning preferences, and AI can adjust the difficulty and content of learning material in real time based on their preferences, which was not possible earlier. And we are also using a lot of predictive analysis to identify what are the skill gaps and anticipate what's needed in the future, design the learning programs based on that to proactively address them. Now, having said this, I have come to an end, but definitely this is not just the end of our conversation. I would invite some of you to share your thoughts and questions in the chat box if you want to, and we can take it from there.
Thank you, ma'am. Participants, please feel free to post your questions on the chat box. Like I instructed earlier, we will take the questions at the end of all the sessions after the panel discussions. Is that okay, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. I am good. I'm good.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such a thought-provoking session and the ideas that you shared about how AI is reshaping the L&D landscape turning that into a more personalized, data-driven, and stable ecosystem. And the emphasis you gave on how AI does not teach you but learns about you was very nice. And also, how AI can recommend but not replace gave a very balanced approach on overview of AI on landscape. Thank you for taking us through. Thank you for a spectacular session, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I am energized by the participation as well. I would like more participation in the chat box for them to send in their thoughts, but let's have the panel discussion, and then from there we can maybe have more questions.
Dear participants, we'll take a quick break of 5 minutes and we will come back. We don't have to log out because it'll take a long route to again re-log in and all that. We can switch off our computer and be on mute. Thank you. We will join you all in 5 minutes. You can quickly grab your cup of coffee or tea and be back. We'll see you in a while. Thank you. Okay. Now, by the time you share.
Good morning. This message is for all the panelists. I request all the panelists to keep your video on so that I put you on the spotlight for the purpose of the panel discussion. Miss Anita and Miss Suryashweta, could you please switch on your video? I request the MC, Professor Anu Natraj, also to switch on the video. We are waiting for Miss Anita. That was a wonderful session, Miss Shweta. And that set the tone for our panel discussion. So I think we'll wait for people to grab their cup of coffee and tea and join us for the panel discussion.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. I request all the participants to rejoin.
So, I think there is some problem. Anita ma'am, are you able to hear?
Yes, I'm able to hear. Are you able to
There is
hear
some
me?
problem with your speaker because I'm not able to hear you.
Oh,
Your voice is not audible.
hello. Now, is it audible now? Hello.
It is. We can hear you.
Yeah. Thank
Ma'am, you're audible now.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're audible. Yeah.
Thank you, guys, for promptly coming back from our quick break. Our next session is on panel discussion on today's theme. We are honored to have with us Mr. Krishna Setlur, Miss Anita Vasudevan, and Miss Suryashweta Chakraborty, and Dr. Hema Harsha, who's our moderator, who will share insights on how organization can foster digital dexterity and prepare it for the future workforce. Let me quickly introduce you all to our moderator today, Dr. Hema Harsha. With an engineering background, she has in her kitty a rich experience of 27 plus years, inclusive of both industry and academics. An effective communicator, teaching HR, business laws, and business analytics subjects. She is into behavioral training and has been a keynote speaker and panelist on many forums. We welcome you, ma'am, and it's our privilege to let you moderate the panel discussion today. Over to you.
Thank you, Professor Anna. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I think we have an echo. We'll just quickly work that out. Is it fine? Are we getting an echo still? Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be an echo, yes.
Yeah, so I'll tell you something.
I think we have a couple of people in the same room.
Yeah, so they need to all go on mute
Yeah.
and put their microphone also on mute for the echo to stop.
Are we okay now? Yes, I think. Yes, good. We are great. So, technology I think there's some challenges with that as well. A very good morning to everyone, and thank you for joining the webinar. After an insightful and it was a session which set the note for today's panel discussion. Thank you so much, Ms. Suryashweta Chakraborty. You have given us insights about AI in the learning and development front. And to add to that discussion, today we have two veterans from the industry, Ms. Anita Vasudevan and Mr. Krishna Setlur, who along with Ms. Shweta will discuss on the nuances, opportunities and challenges of technical advancement, specifically with the advent of AI and Gen AI, and what is in store for the employee, employer, and the industry in the future. Before I dive in, let me quickly introduce our panelists. Ms. Anita Vasudevan, having worked with companies like C Data Software, Cisco, IBM, and Mahindra Satyam, is a forward-thinking and resilient strategic leader.
If you not practice, you are giving mark by 1.
The right person to speak on this forum, as she thrives in a fast-paced environment, driving measurable impact on talent strategy and business success. Ms. Anita is an accomplished coach, a diversity, equity, and inclusion champion, and has partnered with organizations working towards development of women and community. Well, thank you, Ms. Anita, for being a part of the panel, and welcome. We have Mr. Krishna Setlur, founder and managing consultant of RO Consulting, a leadership talent consulting firm, and he too is a leadership coach. Having put in 30 years in the corporate on various roles in companies like Ericsson, IBM, Satyam, and L&T, he was also the CHRO for Samsung's software and research organization, Bengaluru. With an MBA from XLRI and a PCC from International Coach Federation, ICF, United States of America, Mr. Krishna believes in continuous learning. Thank you, sir, for joining and welcome to the panel discussion. We already know Ms. Suryashweta Chakraborty. She agreed to join us in the panel discussion as well, and thank you so much for that, Ms. Shweta, and hearty welcome. As AI and generative AI are evolving rapidly, it is imperative for the workforce to stay updated on new tools and technologies. The buzzword in terms of this transformation is digital dexterity. And the question which comes to my mind is, are you prepared to get comfortable with discomfort? Because disruption is going to be constant and we have to adapt to it quickly. Without much ado, first question to all three of you is, how do you define digital dexterity in the context of today's AI-driven world? Why is this preparedness critical in this HR technology cohesion? We could have Mr. Krishna answering at first, followed by Ms. Anita, and then Ms. Shweta. I request everyone to kindly mute yourself. Apart from the panelists, please mute yourself. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, over to you, Mr. Krishna.
Okay, thank you so much. And to the MPBIM Institute of Management and all of you at the back end who's making this possible, and to all the participants here this morning. On a weekend, you've chosen to log in here, which just shows your commitment to learning and your commitment to your own growth. So kudos to that. Having said that, if you have to look at digital dexterity, we could define that as probably that mindset which enables us to quickly learn, unlearn, fearlessly and confidently take head on the changes that are transforming the world, especially on the digital front. We've always talked about learning and unlearning and being able to be agile about our journey of being a continuous learner. The only difference right now is that while we've been used to the traditional modes of learning and growing and understanding the world around us, today the pace has changed, and therefore that is why we are talking about digital dexterity. The importance is only because of the pace at which it's going on, number one. Number two is the digital progress that we are seeing all around us, especially with the AI, fundamentally is not as tangible or visible as it is with anything else. You know, I take it back to the days of the computer revolution when we did not have computers. I mean, I entered the workforce 34 years ago when there was just absolutely no computers in the workplace. Internet was not a word at all. So we had to actually go to the library and actually read books, not on the screen, but actual real books. We actually wrote letters. We had to type out notes, and they were physically couriered and delivered from one office to another office. So compared to that, I've seen that transformation, and people had very similar fears. People had very similar mindset. People had to undergo those mindset changes, but I'm very optimistic. And I'm, in fact, I would say not just optimistic, but extremely confident that just as the advent of computers transformed our lives, and today, if you look at it, computers are available on your mobile phones. They're doing a lot more than what the initial computers could do. And AI will just do exactly the same thing. Yes, there will be fears, there will be protests, but people will learn, people will adapt. Grandmoms now use, great grandmoms now probably use digital tools to communicate with their children, grandchildren, and all that stuff. That's about now 15, 20 years old that grandparents are using mobile and such other tools. AI is exactly going to follow that journey. It is just that we have to have that mindset that it's all for the better. That's about it. And then the rest of it is mechanics.
Thank you so much, Krishna, for that. Wonderfully said. And I've been a champion and very passionate about the growth mindset. So to just take off from where Mr. Krishna said, I think we as human beings, growth mindset has been our guiding force. But coming to the term digital dexterity itself, I think the pace at which the tools and the technologies are changing, we've got to be ready to pick up any new tool and to be able to use it in different ways. When we initially used to implement HRIS, and even now we do have, you have a manual, you have things like that. But more and more, as we have moved to the SaaS user-friendly manuals, we've got to quickly be able to figure out our way, and we've got to quickly move. So that drive to say that, hey, I shouldn't make a mistake. While yes, employee data is very important and we don't want to do it, there are always demo platforms, there are other ways of doing it. And the way of thinking, if I don't know something, how do I figure it out? So that drive and that ability. And I think innately we all have it as human beings. It's just that we've been conditioned to different ways of doing it. So also to be able to experiment on technologies. See, earlier, it was one project where we experimented, we looked at things, we found things. I think today, as we look at the HR line, we have to keep experimenting, we have to keep finding, and in any line, that holds good. So I would say, key is the drive and, of course, the capability and the ability for us to do it, which today, everybody has, having used our smartphones. I think anybody is, there is nobody. I mean, even if you go down social strata, you have kids, you have everybody who knows how to use it. So can I find a quick technology solution? Like if I have to make a presentation, can I quickly use one of those and turn around results quickly? And that's what the market and people are going to look at us if I have digital dexterity. So how am I using it and how will I turn it around quickly? So those are the thoughts that come to my mind when I hear the word digital dexterity. No more will I look at dictionary. I love dictionaries though, but my dictionary is now, we know that you have everything online. So it all comes up there. And for all we know, there are going to be new jobs coming up in the future. We'll all be learning completely new things from what we know today.
Over to you.
I think a wonderful perspectives shared by both Krishna and Anita here. And both of their explanation made me go back to one of the Sundays that I was sitting with one of my kids. So I have two of them, 13 and 11-year-old. Now, my 11-year-old, when she was 9-year-old a couple of years back, one of the Sunday mornings, she was learning, she had picked up her brother's book about circulatory system. And I think, a couple of, days back, she again picked it up again when it is in her syllabus. So when she was actually looking at the circulatory system, and it was Sunday, I was busy with other chores and I had to finish. I usually keep it for all the other things that I cannot do it on a working day. And she came to me with circulatory system, and it's been a couple of years, not everything is on top of my mind. So I brushed it aside saying that, hey, right, it is not the right time as of now for me to, tell you all about that, but let us sit on it. And obviously, because I was busy, I couldn't do that. But what she did in the meantime is very interesting. She immediately went to YouTube, opened something up by herself, heard all about it, browsed through a couple of videos. And she came back later in the day and she taught me a couple of things about it. And I said, wow, where is that you picked up all of that? And then she said that, hey, you were busy. So I thought, let me go ahead and use use YouTube to flip through some of the videos. Now that's digital dexterity for me. Another example, and I'm going to bring out a couple of things which are important, not just along with the digital dexterity. Another day, we all had gone to watch a cricket match played by blind women, and blind girls who have varied degree of blindness, but the kind of coordination and syncing that they have on the field is a spectacular view. I mean, I think we all should experience how they play the game without their ability to see and watch, and their the inability to see the ball coming at them and yet to be able to strike it and hit the ball with the bat and making that contact. I think that is phenomenal. Now, watching that cricket match, my kid asked me that what if I ask Siri to teach me. Now Siri and Alexa are their best friends. I think a lot of our young generation would have the same best friends in their houses along with them, and they just proposed that, hey, can I ask Siri to teach me how to play cricket. They had their phone with them. I said, go ahead, try. Now, how they learned about it or did not learn about it is a different, for us to discuss that. But I think what is important with the digital dexterity is because technology is everywhere. Everybody has technology in their hands available, whether in terms of internet, mobile phone, laptop. Everybody has it in all the households. But what's important for this generation to demonstrate is the curiosity to learn and use it in the best possible way. I think if the curiosity is mixed with that, that growth mindset that both Anita and Krishna were talking about, I think we are in a wonderful space.
That's fantastic. I think right from Mr. Krishna talking about going to the library to the experiences you people have shared, and I really like that example of grandmoms using technology today, and that speaks volumes about digital dexterity, not just for employees. It's not just meant for employees. And again, Ms. Shweta spoke about her kids using it. So it's not just for employees in corporate, but for all, ALL in capital. So, well, the next question is for all three of you, and we shall follow the same order. From a corporate standpoint, how do you think organizations are redesigning roles or job expectations to align with AI integration and digital transformation? What are your thoughts about it?
Okay. Again, I love to see the one fundamental fear about AI is that AI will take over jobs. That's something that's probably being sensationalized by a lot in the media, humongously across social media, across the mainstream media platforms, and the whole lot. But I just want to go. I was wondering, as a HR professional, people often ask me this question: do you see jobs disappearing? Do you see that will we have large-scale layoffs, right? Will we have a lot of joblessness because young graduates can't get jobs? Now, I've been asking some experts who are technology experts, specifically in the AI space, if any of these fears are going to be true. So, because on the one side, you have all that hype in the media. On the other side, you have the reality. So I was just asking, what exactly is AI doing? Because while I understand AI from my perspective, I also keep checking in the ecosystem as to what the technology experts feel. One fundamental thing that I'm hearing is that the fears about AI are probably overhyped, number one. Number two, the use of AI has already begun. So while I say it's overhyped, it doesn't mean that AI is useless. AI is extremely useful. It's already taken over certain jobs. That's also true. For example, certain entry-level jobs. For example, McKinsey says that a lot of their slide deck making, which they had a huge army of slide deck makers, okay, they have completely replaced them with AI. right, with AI tools. A lot of entry level, for example, chatbots that we see today, some of the voice-based, customer service agents that we see today. Surya wonderfully talked about how we would have coaches, digital coaches, that would understand your needs, your journey in your learning journey, your growth journey, and tailor make courses specifically for you. First understand you and then respond accordingly. Very, very mass customized learning programs and systems. So all of these are already happening. So while that is happening, let's go back and see, does that mean that there's a fear that all the jobs would be replaced? Mind you, way back in the late 80s, when computers had just about started, and even towards the 90s, mid and even towards up to the late 90s, a lot of bank employees had this fear. Public sector bank employees had this fear. Oh, we are going to lose jobs. We are a government entity. We are a public sector bank, and you just can't go and computerize our banks. But today, far from actually taking away their jobs, you see that the number of bank jobs have actually gone up. The amount of digitization of banks has also gone up. The amount of software being used. Today, we cannot think of banking without software. We can't think of it without internet. So quite like that, we will not be able to imagine life without AI in the future. So lower entry-level jobs will be taken over by AI, but that means that people will then move up the value chain. People who are writing, ledgers and notes and sealing envelopes to send them across to people who are doing, jobs of couriers, of taking packets from one office to another office, are all gone, because email has replaced all of them. But then you have a bunch of people who are doing a lot more of value add, isn't it, in that entire value chain? So this is probably what is going to happen with AI and jobs. We will see that there will be a higher value add set of jobs. People will naturally adapt. We are adept at learning, especially knowledge economies like India. When India's economy is service oriented, is based on knowledge, a lot of it, right? So that way, we will see that upgrade automatically happen, right? So there's no fear of mass scale loss of jobs. But at the entry level, yes, we will see there will be adjustment issues. It's not going to be one smooth scalar or linear journey. There will be ups and downs. But the only thing is, like I said, digital dexterity is the thing. Stay open-minded, have that mindset of learning, and just fear not, and you're there. So entry-level jobs are gone. Second is, you have to learn how to use. All job roles are now saying that you have to integrate AI into all jobs. That's another way the jobs are getting redefined. So effectively speaking, I would like to say this. AI is the new English for business. AI is the new English for business. Just as much as we use English in any business situation, we are going to, across the world, we're going to be using AI. That's about it. There's nothing to fear. I'm sorry, on that note, let me just hand it on to other panelists.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna. Okay. Let me just tell you a little more from a practical perspective from the software industry and product development. There's always this feeling that, we did mass hiring, even in IT services company, you will need thousands of programmers to write a lot of code. The syntax is important. So how much do you know your Java code, your IDE, and things like that? All of this is going to go away because I'm going to use AI. There's already low code, no code, all of this going around. So then, does that mean I don't need developers and engineers? Absolutely not. The level of engineering will change. And the one thing is, whether it comes in colleges, doesn't come in colleges, I think the change in the level of engineering. So what will this bring about as an organization? I might not have such large teams. I might not have spans of control that is large. I might not need so many managers to a person. But the work will there, which also means that I have to take that accountability as a person who does the job. Similarly, if you look at the HR function itself, I know Shweta spoke a lot about L&D, but again, a passion area, and I'll say it on it. Earlier, we spent time when we had to design any program for leadership development. What is it that you wanted? What is the objectives? What is this? Today, companies don't even want you to put out information on Chat GPT. They have their own Chat GPT. In 10 minutes, you will have a design. But is that the design that I want to apply? So, we will look at people who think deeply and who are able to understand things much more. And that's the transition. So the levels in the organization are going to shrink. The type of work might change, but then we will definitely have to stay on and persevere. In HR, our operations work like everything else. I mean, we know there are chatbots, and automation has been there for quite a while now. Even if I look at talent acquisition, there's a lot that is being done by AI automation. Reports that I used to take in Excel, time to analyze, pull out Excel data. Even if you had your Oracle SAPs, you still had to make sense of it. Today, I mean, you just say, I want this analysis, but then I need to be able to understand it the right way. I should know what each of these means and how to interpret it and how to move forward. In terms of decision making, I think India has always been a country of, perfectionism. We have always, from our colleges, our scores are important, everything. Now we might start moving to a satisfying decision making methodology. What are my 4 5 options? Quickly select what gives me what I want and move forward with it, because it's going to be we are moving in shorter, faster cycles. Not that longer cycles are not required, they are required at times. So the way we operate also changes. So these are some thoughts which come top of my mind, because talent acquisition strategy earlier, we made a strategy a long time, we reviewed it, we went back in HR in all the spaces, we did that. Now we are quickly every quarter looking at it. So that means I need somebody who's more strategic also, who can connect the dots quickly and move forward. So this is just my experience at work that I'm sharing. Yeah. So thank you, and over to Shweta.
Yeah, I think, Anita, you spoke about something very relevant here, that the career levels are shrinking. All the stacks are going away. And what does it mean for us? It means that a lot of the work that was being done by the L&D professionals, the HR business partners, they are going to go away as well. So as much as the technical jobs at the entry level, they are going to go away. In the mid level also, they are going to go away. But what is going to remain is what is very important for us to understand. It remains that how are you really partnering with the business to understand what is important for them? Where is the industry moving? What are some of the things that are becoming more relevant? And the ability to join these dots and to understand that, okay, this is what the business is moving towards. These are the strengths that the business has. These are some of the gaps and opportunities and strengths, weaknesses that the business has. The ability to understand and synthesize all of that information to come up with the solution then is where it is going to become more and more relevant. Now, for example, the whole of last week, I was involved in a strategy meet and vision discussion with a business to help them develop a lot of their current business strategy and the future business strategy based on where the business is moving. Now, there was a very interesting area where we kept discussing about the vision statement and the mission statement with all of the best of the brains coming together. And then one of them just suggested that, hey, we have been discussing it so far, and this is what ChatGPT has to say about it. Everybody agreed, raised their hands, conversation was over in another 5 minutes. It would have taken another 30 minutes if the input from each of these individuals and the leaders who were in the room had not shared what is important for them and were not able to join those dots. So the point that I'm trying to make is with the advent of technology, it is becoming more and more easy for us to get the information. But what is becoming increasingly difficult is to sift through heaps of data and information that is lying there, and to have empathy for the employees to see through what they're seeking and then bring out something that is important for them, because everybody is short on time. they did not really have the kind of time and the luxury to sit and learn and spend time in the organization, which otherwise, was the case a couple of years back. So how, with the advent of AI, am I reducing the time spent by any employee on an average from what they were spending earlier on the things that are not so important for them, and helping them focus on what is important for them, is where the empathy is going to play a very big role from the professionals. And that's why and another thing is that how we are changing it more and more to partnering with the business to understand what the business needs, where does it need to move, where are they right now, what are some of the blockers that are there that's stopping them. So the ability to estimate, understand, sit, listen, work with them and partner with them is becoming more important.
That's well-rounded answers from all of you. I mean, look at where we are today. It's a huge paradigm shift. From those days, I remember when I did engineering, we studied Fortran, Pascal, and C in the final year. And today, I think that is being studied by school kids. So that is a transition which we are seeing. And jobs are, changing. The way jobs are seen is changing. I think probably another day we could talk about, paper exclusion and all those things. But today we'll stick by our topic. And Miss Anita, I'll move on. Miss Anita, you're working in the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And with multi-generational workforce working together in the present day scenario, we would like to know, how can organizations cultivate a culture of continuous learning and digital curiosity across different generations? Is that a
Wonderful
challenge? How do
question,
we
because
address it?
yeah, a wonderful question. So I think, one thing that I have seen which has worked is our old age method of working together in teams, and the collaboration, and with all of us being able to pick up so fast. If a team consists of diverse people, the advantage now is, if I don't understand anything, I have technology at my fingertips to understand it. So I become inclusive irrespective of age. I remember, earlier, maybe 8 years back, something we used to say reverse mentoring for technology. The latest technology has come, so we don't know and we learn from the others. Or let's say something like Pride Month. How much visibility did it have before? How did we know the history? Something that works for everybody, coming out with solutions, things like that. While we have to know our sources, we have to know from where it is coming. AI helps me quickly tap things. And at the same time, even draw on practical experiences of others. If you go in and you check, in your AI, it will give you, answers of what others are doing. It's for me to take up. It also gives me scope for innovation. So I see in the DEI line, each one of us having that equity and inclusivity ingrained as our values is key today, because I've got to be able to make out if AI brings up a bias. Like even today in ChatGPT, if you ask for pictures, this is something that's going around a lot on social media, 10 days back or something. If you ask for a picture, it typically gave you pictures of Caucasians, unless you mentioned, I want pictures of Indians. So this is a bias. So prompt engineering, I have to use all of these to build a space where all of us understand things the same way. And it's going to be much easier to understand everything the same way. If I don't understand, I can just say, how does a 20-year-old look at this word? And then it'll come up, because the way I look at this word, sometimes when I'm speaking to people, is this word correct in its usage is what strikes me. Whereas when I put it in, I can see what it actually means. Like being a tomboy might no more be a bad thing. Being a fun kid might no more be a bad thing. The way the generations see it is different. So when we come up with our diversity initiatives, it gives me a lot of support and help to go by, and I'm able to quickly build diversity, inclusivity, I would say. Diversity has been there in our agenda for a long time, but equity and inclusivity is something that it's helping me do a lot.
True to every word. In fact, we have generations, people, baby boomers to the present generation. using technology has been a challenge for some of them, but they've definitely adapted to it. And organizations have worked towards bringing in a cohesion amongst all of them, training them, I think making them adapt to the technology. I think this must be appreciated in most of the tech industry because they definitely have to use it. And so the training is a compulsory part.
Yeah,
Well,
and
moving
just to
on.
add to it, the other
Yes,
space is people with different abilities. It's helped a
true.
lot. While we might today think of generation and gender, I'm looking at a day will come when physical disabilities or differently able people will be equal to all of us in all our jobs. And that's where I'm looking at AI really supporting society as a whole.
In fact,
Ms.
already technology is
Surya gave a
supporting.
fantastic example also about it regarding the cricketers. I think that was
Yes.
a fantastic example. Mr. Krishna, you wanted to say something?
In fact, right now, as we speak, my organization, we have run a social enterprise in the recruiting space. And even before work from home became a buzzword, uh, our recruiters are visually or physically challenged person working from their homes from many, many years. So,
Lovely.
so technology has enabled that, and I see that happening even more, much, much more. Today, since I have recruiters, I have my team working who are in that space, who are actually visually, physically challenged persons. The one thing that I can say is that corporates have a long way to go before they can become truly inclusive. But I think AI is going to accelerate that journey, as Anita just said, because the seamlessness with which AI can, mitigate that difference that we still see is going to be humongous. And that's a fantastic point that you brought up, Anita. Yeah, that's going to be huge social good. Thank you for that point. Yes, thanks. And
Would you
what
like to add
about the
anything,
blind
Ms. Surya?
cricketers? Yes, I think at some point in time, AI would also enable the orally challenged and the visually challenged to respectively hear and see, because that's already happening. There are specs and goggles that uses AI to in real time scan the horizon and feed signals directly to the nerves in the brain that enables then the person to see, even if the eye is damaged. So a lot of conditions like retina pigmentosa and things like that, which are physical damage to the eye system, is now bypassed using AI. That's already happening, by the way.
Fantastic. I think as soon as I saw Miss Anita's profile and said DEI, I said this is something which is much talked about in the industry as to how can we bring in technological inclusivity, and that is something which needs to be spoken about. Well, moving on, there is too much of noise created on jobs becoming obsolete and people losing jobs and AI taking over, AI and Gen AI taking over, specifically certain jobs in the area of marketing, content development, publishing, and HR, the most rudimentary tasks. So, what mindset shifts are required, both from leaders and employees, to successfully embrace AI without fear or resistance? What is your take on that? I want each one of you to address this question, starting from Mr. Krishna, followed by Ms. Shweta, and then Ms. Anita. Please. Over.
Okay, so fundamentally, let's look at any business process, whether it's strategic or whether it's operational or anything in between, have two components. One is a rational component, the other is an emotional component. Let's look at it from a very fundamental perspective. What AI can do is to do the rational component of it way better. The emotional component is something that is still very, very human, right? So if you look at, for example, the example that Surya gave of a hyper-personalizing mass customization of, let's say, learning content to meet my development needs. Now, there are two aspects of it. One is I may need learning content which has knowledge sharing. I need to learn certain things. For example, I might need to learn a lot about AI itself or how to leverage digital technologies for my work. Now, I can trust AI to suggest courses, bring it up on a palette, put it on a learning system, ping me, and do all of those tasks which can be reduced to a process, which can be reduced to a certain logic, right? But if I have a certain fear in my heart, emotional process in my heart about hey, how am I going to cope? And I just have a problem, a starting problem to even start learning that. Or who's going to address that? To a certain extent, the AI tool can reason it with me. Hey, you don't have to worry about this, and it can engage in a kind of rational conversation. But that emotional, nice pat on the back, that look in the eyes, that softness in the tone that I can expect from a fellow human being, where is that going to come from? That is still going to remain human. So there's a rational, the machines can do it better, let them do it. Right? So from a mindset perspective, are they going to replace such jobs? Yes, let them replace. But then what strengths, what mindsets do we need? We need to then strengthen all those soft skills, the intangibles, the real human skills that are required to relate with one another. That's not going to go away. For example, in a sales process, the entire data sharing, the entire asking and answering of questions, all of that is fine. Machines can do that. Bots can do that. But then really giving that confidence to the prospective customer, hey, listen, we are with you, cannot be machine driven. It has to be a human interaction. It is human. Because as long as you have, at the end of the day, the decision is going to be made by humans. The machines can recommend something, right? But the decision will still be human, right? And to a certain extent, when the decision is purely rational, for example, which flight should I take from place A to place B? Probably the machine can decide and book the tickets, right? But the thing is that if I don't care for if I don't have an emotional preference for one airline because of their service parameters, then it's fine. But if I have a preference in terms of a service parameter, I prefer to fly this airline because I like the way they treat me, then machines can't do it. Or I can still program that, but again, it'll have to come back to me for a final decision. Oh, flights are available on that airline that you prefer, but the fares are higher. What do you want to do? I would still have to come back there, right? So therefore, if you look at it, at any time, I mean, this AI thing is progressing so rapidly that no one has visibility beyond the next 3 years. Even the best of AI experts that I've spoken to say anything beyond 3 years is just not visible to us. Anything can happen. But in the next 3 years, AI is not taking over jobs. They're going to only support us in doing our jobs more effectively. 1. 2, in the long run, when I pushed them and we had these long discussions, the one thing that comes out is those human skills that are uniquely human are going to remain outside of the AI domain. And they will coexist along with all these rational functions. So this is the analysis that we've come to. So on that note, I'll be very eager to hear from the other panelists as well. Thank you.
Krishna, I think you have given a lot of very relevant examples, and I am, then just going to keep it very, very short. And to Hema, your question that what are those mindset shifts? Let me bring in a little bit of insights from the organizations and the people that I work with every day. And one thing that I'm noticing, that one mindset shift which is becoming more and more relevant is curiosity. And I think, in the last question you asked about digital dexterity and digital curiosity in the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas that are coming in. I think one thing that they are thriving on right now is curiosity, and that's what needs to be built upon. It is not just about digital dexterity, in my opinion, because they are digital natives. They are born in an era where the first thing that they speak to probably in the morning is an Alexa and a Siri. So we don't really have to kind of take them to the digital and tech world and introduce them to that. And to Anita's last point, that we are using the reverse mentoring, where the Gen Zs are teaching and training the older generations in the organization is very, very prevalent right now. But coming back to the word and the mindset shift that I spoke about earlier is the curiosity, and it's a skill. a lot of people, want to think that curiosity is something that you are born with. You are born curious. You want to know about the world. You want to know about everything. But it's a skill that can be developed and is not, I can tell you, invested enough by the organizations right now. Now, if that's one mindset shift that the organizations can bring in, and the HR can play a role in that to bring that to the forefront and make it mainstream, where people are not fearful of asking questions, challenging status quo, asking different questions. I think these are some of the things that have to be nurtured in a community where these conversations are brought up again and again, and people are encouraged to ask questions, challenge the status quo, bring in different thoughts and ideas, and just be in their natural self for being curious. I think that is very important, which where I think all of us can play a very big role. And the second mindset shift is one's ability to learn from any kind of mistakes and failures. I think with the advent of AI, there is a lot of things that are going to be taken away by AI. What we will be left with is a lot of time on our hands to do meaningful work, to do meaningful analysis, searches, researches, and use that time for our own selves, which probably we didn't really have a lot of, because earlier we had to mine through stacks of data to analyze that, to understand that. Now with the advent of AI, we would be able to immediately look at some of the analysis of that. So what we are left with a lot of time, and how we are using that time to reskill, redevelop, and to develop ourselves is going to be critical, which means that my ability to learn from mistakes, my ability to learn from the things that I have done and do that retrospective is going to be very important as a mindset for us to move forward. Because the moment we look back and see that, what are the things that we have done well, what else needs to be added, what am I learning from it, what learning I would like to go forward with. And I think we will have to constantly coach ourselves as well as we move into the continuum. So I think, I was listening to Roger Federer, big fan of Roger Federer and tennis as a whole. In one of his recent college speeches that he was doing with college grads, one thing that he said was that how important in the he has won multiple Grand Slams. So he hasn't probably learned as much from the ones that he has won as opposed to the ones that he has lost. And it talks a lot about the mindset that I'm sorry, did I lose myself there? So I'm saying that, Roger Federer, in one of his speeches to the college students, he was talking about the mindset that he has, which is more about not just learning in from the slams that he has won, but the ones that he has lost. And they have probably taught him a lot more than the slams that he has not really won, or the points that he has not really won. So that mindset that, hey, can I sit with myself to learn from the things that have done well, and not just that, but the things that have not done well, can I learn from them? And that ability to constantly asking yourself some of these questions to learn from the mistakes and the failures is going to take the mainframe as a mindset. And if we all can bring in some quotient of that, definitely will set us apart from the AI, which is sometimes taking the mainframe.
Thank you, Shweta and Krishna. Beautifully said. So I think empathy and the mindset have been spoken quite a bit. So to add to that in terms of skills, if today we were to look at the skills, I think with AI coming in, the people skills, the softer skills, these are going to be playing a much bigger role. And resilience is something that will come up big time, to build on what my co-panelists Krishna and Shweta mentioned, resilience and agility. I need to quickly be able to move. I need to be resilient. What I did in this same organization, same role, maybe the role name will change too. 6 months back to now might change. So these are skills we have to be prepared for. There is nothing as, repetitive work anymore that anyway had come down with automated work. But at the same time, the example that Shweta gave about strategy and vision, each time it's going to be new. And another key skill that I see not spoken about that much when we are speaking about AI, and we've been speaking about the positive things, is something that Shweta also mentioned, research and depth and knowing the source. So I think security and privacy is something everybody's got to be aware of today. Even if I'm a student or a child, if I don't know from where I'm pulling out the data that I'm taking, it could become a challenge for me. So it becomes like bread and butter. It's no more like the Google search days where I just put in Google there and it gave me with the source. Of course, Google first will come with AI and then it will give me the source if I want. So being aware of, privacy of data, security, these become basic bread and butter skills that I'll have to have. And of course, social media skills. I think with AI coming in, we all know how LinkedIn is used and how it is. So we've really got to be able to distinguish, to be able to put things there out quickly, interact with people. So these are few more of the top skills. And data analysis, data analytics. We are going to be bombarded with a lot of data. So how do I quickly make sense of it and move forward is another. So these are few of the things that I can think of. One being in HR, especially the HRBP role itself is transforming. We now call it people success because we have all the tools and technologies that exist. Okay, the learning can be given, the operation support can be given quickly. But can I relate to you in terms of human connection, person to person? If somebody is feeling very bad on a Monday morning, whether it's because of your work or it's because of something that's happened at home, quickly can we speak to that person? If and that's where hybrid working has come back from the full virtual working. In some places in virtual you can do it with your face when you hear a person's tone. So that human connection is going to be very key as we keep moving forward. So that's it from my side, Hema.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the three panelists. That was a well-rounded answer, wherein you moved from rational and emotional to Shweta speaking about, psychological safety. She was talking about psychological safety for a person to even open up and ask questions if they are not aware of something. And the concept of reverse mentoring. I think this truly touched upon the question which I had asked, addressed to you all. Moving on, Ms. Shweta, a mindset for continuous learning, openness, and to change and agility. To integrate digital tools is the need of the hour, as you also as everybody mentioned. And you are in that space of training and talent development. I think yesterday when I spoke to you, you were getting back from your training and you've been busy the whole week with that, you said. So what are the most in demand? We have a lot of students who would have joined this webinar. And in the interest of those, what are the most in-demand digital or AI-related skills you're seeing which is emerging? And how can students and professionals upskill? What is it that they need to do and to stay relevant? Because they are looking forward to jobs, getting jobs. And what is it that you would suggest to them as far as upskilling is concerned?
Interesting question, but I do not know how interesting my response is going to be on that because I have nothing to offer on the technology front that they need to do. I think there are, they would be able to go back to, and it would be a remiss of them to not use technology to find more about technology. They can go to ChatGPT, write down what are some of the best skills that they can develop right now, and it would give a much better response than I can give to this question. But what I could tell the students is one key message that they can take back from here is that there are a couple of things that AI will not be able to do, which they can. And I'm going to go back to the same response that I gave a little while earlier, that curiosity cannot be replaced. Adaptability, agility, their willingness to learn, their openness to learn, being curious, asking a lot of questions, and using their time, which the AI has made way for them, because this time, this extra time that everybody has on hands, how they are using it to learn more about humans, build those connections with humans, and for their own development is going to help them set themselves apart. The rest, everything is on ChatGPT, and they can go ahead and find more and more about that. Ask Siri, ask Alexa, go to ChatGPT, write some prompts. They are the best ones to write prompts. I think let them use that to find more about it. But if they have to really learn about what will help them thrive in this new world is some of these skills which are so difficult to find. Now, one example that I would give is that, in organizations, not always one gets a better, promotion than the other, not because that they are better in their work or they are bringing in more revenue than the other. It is also dependent on their, how they have demonstrated their leadership skills in not just developing themselves, but people around them as well. And that's not really taught by the ChatGPT and the AIs of the world. What is the self-leadership that they are demonstrating? And how they are demonstrating the self-leadership in their personal and professional life is going to define how they are being seen in the organization itself. So if they have to kind of grow in their career, it is important for them to look out and pounce upon any kind of information that they can get, learn from that, and keep asking these two key questions that, what am I learning? What have I learned from this? And how am I going to use this learning as I move forward? And things that I did well, take a stock of that, but always take more stock of the things that you did not do well and what did not go right. If you're able to ask these questions, and that itself is self-leadership, the moment you're able to, whichever level that you are the SVP, VP, the CEO, the ability to ask these questions to oneself will help them always be ahead in the learning curve that they are in. So design your own learning curve based on these skills. So I think, Krishna, you mentioned about the soft skills that are going to be important. Anita, you spoke about that largely. I think those are my 2 cents, apart from what they have both shared on it.
Well, very well said. I think being curious is the mantra for everyone today. And moving on, Mr. Krishna, this is for you. You are associated with academic institutions and the corporate. How should educational institutions and corporates collaborate to bridge the gap between academia learning and industry needs in the technological front, especially in rural India, where the reach of technology is much lower? And we have been seeing that. Of course, there's a lot of support from the government, through CSR funds. But what is it that you can share with us in this regard?
That's a beautiful question. That's it's a minefield of a question as well, because there are no simple answers to that question. Because again, India itself is an extremely heterogeneous country. You have some of the best world-class institutes with the best of infrastructure, and you have some places where you do not even have a simple roof over your head to call a classroom, right? So it's a wide range of situations out there. So, and as you rightly said, the government is doing its best. There are lots of initiatives. There are NGOs that are doing a lot of work there as well. But that said, let's just take the ones which are kind of reasonably resourced, let's say, and see what needs to be done. The first thing I would urge all educational institutions to do is to become tech savvy themselves. I mean, this is a very brutal statement, but oftentimes there used to be a time when a lot of research, especially, for example, the internet, was not born from any corporate initiative. It was born out of an academic initiative called the ARPANET. Anyone goes and just searches on ChatGPT. I was about to say Google, but then now you should say ChatGPT because that's the go-to place, right? So you can see that mindset change. If you go and just do a ChatGPT, figure out how internet came about, you'll see it was an academic institution that initially started this. Now, today, if you look at most of the big initiatives, the entire social media fabric of the world today is a corporate initiative. So a lot of R&D is happening from the corporate, from the commercial space. Now, I would say one thing is, if the academic institutions in general, I'm not talking about management institutions alone, their mandate is different. I'm talking about technically the research institutions, the academia there. They need to take the initiative back in terms of R&D for the future in a lot of ways, so that it becomes more eclectic, it's more affordable and accessible. That's number one. Number two is academic institutions themselves need to become more tech savvy. They are not at the forefront of technology themselves in their deployment, technological deployment. Third, I would say is that move away from the traditional, degree pattern, because learning is going to become very, very agile, extremely hyper mass customized, as Surya said some time ago in her talk. If it's mass customized, what would be the role of academic institutions in such a scenario? Academic institutions must understand that they have an opportunity and they have a threat. The opportunity is to use mass customization to reach millions. MP Birla Institute, sitting in that cozy, nice building in Racecourse Road in Bangalore, can reach out to millions, literally at least a few lakhs across India, if not the world, by designing relevant courses that are, you just curate technology. You can use adjunct professors, visiting professors, people who can work out of their homes from any part of the world to create courses that then MP Birla Institute can then offer by doing a quality check on that, right? They can be a facilitator, learning facilitator, and then they can mass customize, right? Use AI as a tool to mass customize and allow students to leverage this, or let technology become a threat to them if they do not go beyond the confines of that Racecourse Road office. They don't themselves leverage technology. I'm being very specific, but that's the way it is. It is an opportunity for every academic institution. That one nice building out there can become the hub for the whole world. Bharati Vidya Bhavan has got that vision. And MP Birla, as a constituent unit of that, can leverage it. Alternately, you can say, okay, fine, but then, we can only accommodate so many people in our classrooms. But you don't have to go by that anymore. Your classroom is your world. So academic institutions must move and leverage technology in that sense. That's number one. Because constantly you put out white papers, you encourage students to always integrate. Like I said, AI is the new English. In every single course, in every single curriculum, no matter what, finance, HR, strategy, marketing, sales, whatever courses you're offering, tell me, at least can you take 10% of the course content and say, this is the impact of AI in that subject? Just start with something like that. That will probably not require too much of a mindset change, but say 10% of your curriculum must have AI-related content. Just 10%, and start with that. I've been on boards of studies at several universities, and this is what we are discussing. We are discussing the curriculum content, its relevance, and this is what's happening. So you're right that I've been on both I've of late been spanning both academia and industry, and I've been encouraging academia to look at specific content in their syllabus.
Fantastically said, Mr. Krishna. I think leveraging technology, that is something which educational institutions should and must do now. And we will definitely get back to you, reach out to you to take some sort of an advice in this regard. And moving on, I would like to ask this question to Ms. Anita. You have been in the tech field for a long time, and technology is driven by the human brain, all said and done. So much so for the talk we are doing today. It is our brain child work, actually. Having said that, deep learning systems, NLP, and the like are largely used to automate many routine tasks. And there is a lot of debate about privacy and bias. So, how are companies addressing the ethical considerations of AI use? And how should the workforce be trained to think critically about bias? Because that is something which you cannot say, okay, at the snap of a finger, you can't say, tell them, okay, this is how you need to understand this concept, but you need to bring in that change. So, how do you make them think critically about bias, fairness, and accountability? Could you please address on this?
Well, I think earlier we used unconscious bias mainly when it came to, gender diversity and the way people spoke. There's a lot of conditioning we get from the environment. So what organizations today we are doing is we have to uncondition that, create new condition. So speaking about it in the open, building awareness, and of course, personalized learning about unconscious bias, like every other topic, you will find that. And you have to, there's something called a microaggression. When I use some particular words, you know, is it a bias? For example, if in my recruitment system, I've had 100 applicants, and the people whom I have shortlisted, when I'm training my system, so I should know how to train my system with data. If I happen to select only people who come from, let's say, 2 or 3 colleges, next time my data is trained to look at only people from those colleges. It's not that I intended it. So, what is it that I want to look for when I make my searches and I want to set up my prompt, when I want to set up my analysis in my search engine, in my talent management systems? This is something that we've all got to be very aware of, that what we are doing today could influence things for weeks to come or months to come. We don't know. So the one thing is that speaking about unconscious bias, speaking about bias being built into learning models, how machines will pick up this. Everybody in the company has to become aware, and we have to unlearn that. See, because now, as Shweta said, we are getting a lot of free time. So we want to quickly get our work done too. So we set up something which says that, you do this. So the system will do it. Am I post validating it? When I have given a search, or I have had, let's say as a technology company, you asked it to generate the code. My critical thinking, has it really been efficient on the memory usage or whatever resource usage? Or is it doing it in the same way that I wrote my 3 programs before? Because it gave me 3 options and I picked up that way of doing things. So it will automatically learn that and do that. The element of creativity. Today, even if you take AI art, it draws from pictures that existed, it draws from other artwork, original creativity, and that is where people being very aware of the privacy rules. For example, India has just brought in personal data privacy law, which is very important. So, people have asked me this question when I've said, hey, if you're okay with us sharing your information on social media, please give a consent. They say, what is there to give consent? Everybody's data is there. But do I know tomorrow who all is going to pick it up? When my chat GPT makes answers, it could be using something that I have put up there. So being aware of the copyright laws, being aware that anything I'm putting out there, is it confidential? Not confidential. If it is confidential, what should I take care of it within the company? And that's why product companies today and a lot of companies are coming up with their own AI platforms. They do not want any information that people put in to go outside. Because market intelligence, if you're doing research for market intelligence, let's say you use an external AI platform, you are exposing your company also to that competition. So it will be available for somebody else to see. There are some things that are available, but do you want everything to go there? That's the thinking. So that change in thinking, that, everything we have to think critically, and we've got to do more to make people aware of the connection, and not in one line, but in every line. And I think prompt engineering is a key there, where how I write my prompt will help me get the answers that I want. So without exposing too much of my own organization or work, maintaining the privacy, how do I put in prompts there to get what I need? Or we could democratize in a lot of information and put it out there. So the strategic call will have to be taken by the organization itself. So that is also something, to what extent do we want privacy? How much will we keep? We always had open source, but now in a few seconds, anything I put out there can be published to the whole world. So thinking about that also becomes very important. So keywords and myself being very human, that if something like this happened to me, how would I feel? I think that empathy comes in, and when that comes in, a lot of unconscious bias is really gone. So making people much more aware and openly speaking about it. There was a time we spoke about it in connection with gender bias. I think now's the time we are speaking about it in connection to AI.
Very well said, Ms. Anita. I think
Thank
you
you.
touched upon both the technological part, and today we have the DPDP Act also to protect
Yeah.
the interest of everybody's data, which is put out there. And I think being humane to one another is something which is very, very critical. So I'll move on quickly to the last two questions for this panel discussion, where I want you to give me your expert advice to all our participants. With AI automating many routine tasks, what new opportunities or job roles do you foresee emerging over the, I'll not say 10 years, but because that is too far and disruption happens like that. So let me just ask for another 2 years or 3 years down the line. What is your take? Quickly, if all of you can give me insights into that. We'll start with Anita, you itself. You can start, and then followed by Ms. Shweta and then Mr. Krishna. Is that
Thank you.
okay?
Okay, sure. Yeah, looking at the industry overall, and this is not specifically management or, HR related, but I would say the way we are moving to is, as I said, big data specialists will be a new role that will open up. There will be roles opening up in environment and sustainability. While we are doing all of this AI itself is giving us information as to how our environment could get impacted. So that would mean that while I use all my systems and they help me, I will need more people who can also help me maintain this world to be what it is. So that is an area where, irrespective of company, we will have a lot of people. There will be fintech engineers, as we said. Finance was earlier, Krishna brought that out, was without technology. Then it's become technology, and now they're becoming the biggest users of AI to help. So those roles. And on the HR front, I think the people roles, the human roles will continue to be there and continue to grow. So talent management at a strategic level is something that's going to grow. People partnership roles is something that's going to grow. That's what I'm seeing happen in the near future. As you rightly said, we can no more speak about long term, but these are some things that I'm seeing happen. And what will happen is our fundamentals of subjects. There's a question just to take from what Krishna said. In the academic world, academics has a great role to play, because our fundamentals will become very important in how we understand. There can be new subjects, new fundamentals, but what I know deeply. I know my fundamentals well. And college is a place where social interaction will also come. Today we are having generations who kind of are little find it difficult to socially interact, but I have to connect with people. So they will become temples of social interaction, which will make people, comfortable with moving forward, either to take support or give support to others. So while technology is there, this part will also be there. And those are the kind of roles that I see moving forward. Thank you.
I think those are some great nuggets, Anita. I think I'm going to speak from the perspective of talent development piece and learning and development piece as well. I think what we're trying to do is that the kind of roles that are emerging as of now is everything related to this field, but after having married with AI. So can somebody go ahead and build content, but use AI to make it much more relevant to the users, which means that it has become very, very easy to scale with AI. And scale with AI as in that, if you have to generate content, build content, it takes much lesser time to go ahead and build that up and use AI to reach to the last man in the organization as well, and make it available for them. But what is becoming increasingly difficult is that, how you scale up, but how do you scale to one as well? Which means that are you able to then give the mass training program to the large organization, but yet make it relevant for each one of them who is getting it? And that's what is hyper personalization, which means that, let's say Krishna is getting the same, learning content, what Anita is getting and what Surya is getting, but there is some certain element which is important for Surya, and she's going to see the element in the way that she wants. Probably, she is a learner who prefers more of visual learning. So can I get it in that way? Anita probably is someone who is a kinesthetic learner who wants to learn by doing. Can the learning also include something that will help her not just learn, but also take that learning back at the workplace and help apply that learning within the organization? So give some of those ideas. So what the roles are now evolving as not just the pure play content developer or instructional designer, or the consultancy that we usually do, but using AI, how are we now ensuring that we are upping our game as well? So everything is with AI, and while scaling up has become easy, scale to one has become very difficult, and it is going to get increasingly difficult because you cannot fool the learners anymore by just sending them to some training programs and in a closed room and make them sit for 8 hours. No, everybody, people want just-in-time learning. People want learning available when they need it, and in the flow of the work and in their hands as well. So which means that it is becoming difficult and challenging for the HR folks and the L&D folks to design the learning in such a manner that it is available on everybody's hand when they need it. So making that availability, ensuring the relevance of it for everyone, is where the industry is moving. And this is where I see more and more opportunity for us to marry AI with the current work that we are doing, to take it to scale and to hyper personalize to the to one person, even to the all the employees, or to one person in the organization. So that's how I'm seeing it.
Use cases for AI, right? Now look at AI has got, it's like this. If I asked about 30 years ago, where would computers fit in, right? People would come out with a list of maybe 10, 20 areas where computers would fit in. But then today, can you think of even one area where IT, information technology, is not being used? Even beggars are using information technology today. I'm sorry, just think about it. That QR code that this fellow proffers at some junctions, right? I mean, have you seen these guys asking for alms and charity at these traffic junctions, and they use a QR code? They say, if you don't have change, you can just scan and pay it to me, right? That's how much information technology has permeated the world and our daily lives, right? A third world country, so to say, a developing country like Bharat, is actually having people asking for charity like that on the streets. Now, the same thing I can see happening with AI. You can talk about AI-enabled learning and development. You can talk about AI-enabled recruitments. You can talk about AI-enabled analytics. You can talk about AI-enabled, let's say, everything. Every job that we see today will be AI-enabled. One. Number two, so therefore there are tools that are coming up that are getting developed. So if you are a developer, then think about what are the, you can just go to ChatGPT and ask for which are the tools that are the latest and greatest ones. And that's a very rapidly evolving landscape. So look at becoming very familiar and in fact, proficient in those tools that are used to develop AI, number one. Number two, understand how you can use tools that have AI integrated into them compared to the conventional tools. For example, data analytics is one area where you have a lot of AI already coming in, but the human element is not yet gone. But if you look at, for example, some of the basic rudimentary jobs of call centers and sharing information and that kind of thing, already gone to AI, right? You're not going to be able to do anything else with it. When you are a data analyst, you can look at how you can learn AI-enabled data analysis tools. Then look at how to program AI to make it more relevant and useful for multiple use cases, right? In all areas of life. Third area and the third domain that I can see is that AI and IoT are going to work, in the Internet of Things are going to work extremely closely together, right? That's another area where students, youngsters can figure out how they can integrate. It doesn't mean you have to be an IoT expert or a programmer, but look at how, as maybe as a management graduate, and I think probably a lot of you are management graduates, but look at being a functional consultant for IoT and AI, integrating some functional knowledge of various functional domains of management and technology. See how you can be that bridge. That might be something that's relevant for probably some of the viewers and participants here in this particular webinar. But understand, AI-enabled everything is the way we are going to go.
Oh, way forward. Yes, very true. Developing the right and relevant skills. I think we keep reiterating this in our classrooms as well. And we tell our students as to, it's not about just developing any skills. It's about developing relevant skills, which is needed. And it doesn't apply just for students. It applies for everybody is what I think. And to thrive in the age of AI and generative AI, the future workforce should focus on continuous learning, developing in-demand skills like data analysis. You were talking about search engine optimization. You were talking about, I think, prompt engineering. Right. Those are the skill sets which is needed now. If you don't know how to give the right prompt, probably even ChatGPT will not be able to help you, right? So cultivating all these skills along with human-centric strengths becomes very important. Thank you so much for that insight. And before we close,
just to add to this human centered, it's a very favorite of mine. The other panelists, Anita and Surya, have spoken about it. Just I want to say that what are those things? Figure out how much of time on a daily basis. All the kids out here graduating from any of the educational institutions, colleges and universities are digital natives. Pretty much a lot of them are born after the year 2000. They've been born into the digital age. That said, the human touch is what's really missing. So, for example, when my kids ask, their first go-to place is a technology device, not a human being, right? And this is tricky because on the one hand, we are talking about technology pervading everything. On the other hand, we are saying that if you don't want technology to replace you, the only skill that will stand you in good stead is your human skill, is that humanness of yours, right? But then the humanness of yours cannot be developed by interacting only with technology. You have to only develop it by interacting with other human beings. So make it a point to look at all opportunities to develop your human skills, meaning that go, instead of, for example, ordering something on a quick commerce platform, see if you can walk up to that shop just to say hi to that guy in that shop. I'm just saying something like that, If you want, instead of just going and saying, hey, let me look it up on Google, figure out if you can talk to a senior, a faculty, a person that you know in the industry, apart from looking it up on Google or wherever or on ChatGPT, but reinforce that with a human interaction somewhere. In as much as I'm urging academic institutions to see if you can put 10% of your curriculum related to AI in every subject, I'm also urging every student and everyone in the industry out there, especially the millennials and the what's it called? The Gen Zs, to ensure that you spend 10% of your time interacting with human beings. Not just answering yes, no, all right to your mom and dad and a prof, and not just interacting only amongst yourselves, but someone outside of your age group. That's the challenge I would like to throw at you. Thank you on that note.
And I think, Krishna, that was a powerful example as well. And if I could just add one more to what Krishna has added and urged the students to do and the audience to go ahead and do. One more I would add, in organization, you would see that it's a minefield of data. There is just data lying everywhere. For anything that you need to excel in the organization, you will have to ensure that you're going through that data to understand the trends, analyze it to understand what is really coming up from them. While AI is very powerful in doing that and sifting through that data to go ahead and do it, what we are losing out on is those one-on-one connections where we can reach out to the employees and see what is causing the engagement dips. What is making them excited to come at work? What is motivating them on a day-to-day basis and what is not? And these are some of the things when you can do, let's say as a manager on a one-on-one conversation, or as an HR manager where you actually sit with a group of employees and have those open conversations, inviting thoughts, and creating that safe space for everybody to come in and share. That is decreasing because we have now AI, but we have to see again and reanalyze that if we are now left with time, how do we want to use that to build those human connections in the organizations? And that's what is going to help them win in the space of organizational, win, of course, but at the marketplace as well, because the marketplace is not just going to be won by AI, because had it been the case, then when computers came in, that should have won the world, but it did not. And what it means is that we'll have to keep looking for opportunities where we can have these connections and build upon these connections. So great point, Krishna, I think there.
Thank you.
Very insightful inputs from all of you. I think so true. Change is constant and technology is disruptive. Like rightly said by Shweta at the end, when computers came in, people had their own doubts. I remember the session where I was giving in SPBJ in Sri Ganganagar, where they said, no, we don't want to learn computers. I'm talking about early 2000. And now you see it is core banking system, and people have moved on. They have learned, they moved on, and I think that is the way of life. So as we come to the fag end of this beautiful session where there was so much of learning and so much of sharing from each one of you, I want you all to quickly give your concluding remarks, and each one of you can quickly summarize in one or two statements. And just let's start with, I think, Ms. Shweta, and then move on to Mr. Krishna and then Ms. Anita, please. Yeah.
I think I've spoken enough, but I would encourage everyone to use AI as much as they want and can, in the most ethical way, because the ethical users are going to win the race. And then be a little selfish to see how you want to build your own self-leadership using the time that you have gained for yourself. So use that to build a repertoire of all the skills that you want to build and build those human connections. You're on mute, Krishna.
My bad, sorry. So a lot has been said by all the panelists and by the moderator herself and the speaker, the keynote speaker, Surya, before this in that talk. That said, the fundamental crux of what I'd like to emphasize is that in as much as you learn how to use AI, also learn how to develop yourself as a human being, develop your human skills, because that's the one that's going to help you to use AI and ensure that you don't become fodder for AI to eat you up or eat up your skills. So develop your human skills. That high touch becomes even higher touch, even as technology becomes higher technology, right? So that's very crucial. Always stay in touch with that. Your spirit of enterprise, your curiosity, Surya said, your relationship skills, your self-leadership skills are going to be extremely way more important now than ever before. The more technology comes in, the more your human skills become more relevant. Your sense of ethics and values, that is the foundation and the underlying thing that you need to, your moral compass needs to be extremely strong, because technology will give us options that can take us in all directions.
Thank you so much. So I think Hema, Shweta, and Krishna have covered the points, and we've covered quite a lot. So I will take off on a different tangent. While we've been speaking about all of this, this also means that we spend more time at our devices and with technology. We want to balance it with human touch, yes. But one important element that I'm seeing we are not focusing as much, and I would urge this group, is our own wellness. Right from when you're a little baby now, you grow up seeing a mobile. When you're at work, we spend a lot of our time with systems. I mean, you can be taking a walk and taking your meeting. Nobody would say no. But as final words, while we speak about, resilience, agility, adaptability, I would say all of this adapts to our physical being also, and focusing on our wellness. When I see students who come into the industry, great brains, great technology, we tell them, build relationship building, relationship management, all of that. So that's where we are seeing today a lot of companies also do more and more in the wellness space, because our physical wellness is also as important as our human emotional wellness and technology wellness. So let us, take a little time after we are back today as we build all the AI skills, the AI tools. Let's also look at ourselves. Of course, I know ChatGPT will tell us if I ask for a wellness regime, it will give me that. But for this, I would rather do something that I personally feel comfortable with and look at. And if you're not experimenting with AI, anybody who has any apprehension, pick up one small tool and start with it, and it will just flow. You don't need anything to go with it. So I thought a nice way was to bring in the well of wellness, and that human beings, all of this is finally for human beings. Let's remember that AI work for human beings. So those are my final thoughts.
I think the last statement really makes a point. AI works for human beings, and we are the ones who should ensure how it should work. Fantastic. Thank you so much for summarizing. You made my life a little easier because I don't have to summarize. There were a lot of questions, but I think these questions which have come to me, you have already addressed during the discussions. So most of the questions which I've got here in my hand, I think it's already addressed. So we don't have any question which is left unaddressed as of now. So once again, thank you so much. Thank you for such an enriching session. Digital dexterity goes beyond just technical proficiency. It encompasses a mindset of continuous learning and openness to change, then agility to integrate digital tools. From the most used, like how Ms. Shweta was mentioning, ChatGPT, to I think most used Microsoft's Copilot in the corporate, AI-powered digital tools, and they are designed to enhance productivity, I'm sure, and streamline all the processes and make our life a little more better, simpler, faster, and thus enabling us. Well, in our deliberation today, our panelists have shed some light on what and how one has to be prepared for the new challenges as far as technology is concerned. Embracing a growth mindset, understanding AI's potential impact, and participating in probably the change management initiatives which you yourself have to come up with or the organization comes up with are crucial for navigating the evolving job landscape is what I think, and whatever they have discussed today also goes in the same path. It was definitely a very interesting and fruitful discussion. Thank you, Mr. Krishna. Thank you, Ms. Anita and Ms. Shweta for deliberating on this wonderful topic. A lot of questions which people have on their mind regularly because of the technology and disruption of the systems. So I think we have addressed it to a certain extent. We could deliberate on a lot of other things which you people have spoken about, and many other webinars or panel discussions. I'm truly happy that we could discuss so many things on this platform. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And now it is time for me to hand over the platform to Professor Anu to take over. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's really wonderful being on this panel and sharing a few thoughts. And looking forward to a lot more of learning from the MPBIM Institute of Management's webinars. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful discussion. Hopefully, an engaging platform which our participants have also found helpful in this age where things are continuously changing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anu, before you speak, can I have one word?
Yes, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, it was so nice to hear, to participate. In fact, I must thank Anu, because I had almost thought this program is on Monday. I came yesterday only from US. So I thought this time I can comfortably sit in Mysore and watch. And you did a good thing yesterday reminding me. I had a wonderful time. And here is a take for you and Dr. Hema Harsha. What Krishna says, leaving apart the constraints which MP Birla is now facing of the infrastructure, he said still with the help of whatever AI, etc., we can make so many things to take MP Birla to the whole India and at a larger place. So this I need further discussion with Krishna. I request Dr. Hema Harsha and you to further take up, and I am very keen that this should be an important take from this webinar for me and for our institute. Thank you once again for all the panelists. I really enjoyed. All the three panels were extremely nice. In a very simple way, I could understand everything. And thank you so much. I really enjoyed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Once again, I'd like to thank all our esteemed panelists for their valuable insights. I think their discussion made us learn how organization can cultivate the mindset, skills, and culture that is needed to thrive in a rapidly evolving AI environment. And the key learning parameter, what we learned today is as we navigate the AI-driven future, digital dexterity will be the key to success. Thank you once again, all three of you. And I also would like to thank our moderator, Dr. Hema Harsha, for sharing this panel discussion with such insight and poise. Ma'am, your thoughtful questions and seamless transitions made the discussion not only engaging, but very impactful. Thank you, ma'am. As we are at the concluding phase of our webinar, I now request our student executive Azra to deliver vote of thanks. Over to you, Azra.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. As we come to the end of today's insightful webinar, it is my honor to propose vote of thanks on behalf of MPBIM. First and foremost, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Ms. Suryashweta Chakraborty, for setting the tone by taking us through how AI is shaping L&D through various examples. Mr. Krishna Setlur and Ms. Anita Vasudevan for addressing on digital dexterity by throwing light on how AI is the new language of business, how AI is being used with regards to diversity, equity, and inclusivity in organizations, rational and the emotional component that differentiate human and machines through various examples. Overall, thank you for sharing your invaluable insights, knowledge, and experiences on how AI is shaping our lives, especially with context to building the future workforce. I now extend our sincere thanks to our chairman, Shri N. Engineer Ramanuja, vice chairman, Shri V. Murlidhar, and our principal, Dr. S. Satyanarayana, for providing us with a platform to host the event. I would also like to thank our moderator, Dr. Hema Harsha, and coordinator, Professor Anu A. Nataraj, for steering the session and ensuring it flowed seamlessly. Last but not the least, to our participants, your engagement made the session impactful. We are truly grateful for your participation. We hope this webinar has been beneficial and insightful for all of us. Thank you. Over to Anu, ma'am.
Thank you, Azra. Now, moving forward, I would now like to request all the participants to switch your cameras on for a group photo. Request all the participants to keep your camera switched on for a group photo. Dear participants, please wait for next 2 to 3 minutes while our tech department is capturing the photo. Another 2 to 3 minutes, please. Done. Thank you all. Thank you all. As we are at the fag end of our webinar today, we thank all the participants for your participation. Kindly make sure the feedback form is filled. The link will be now shared in the chat box. And please be reminded, the chat bot will close by next half an hour. By 1 to 1:10 p.m., the chat bot, the link will get closed. And filling of feedback form is essential for issual of e-certificates. And also, I would like to place on record the information about our next webinar, which is next Saturday. The topic is on mastering research and journal submission. It will start around 10 a.m. on the 28th of June. The details of the same will be shared with you. Thank you once again, and thank you for joining us. We